Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So may I invite the AGMs and the PMs to come and sit down at the management side on this other table, not high table this time around. I don't want to call it high because no table is low. In our midst, the MD CEO, TCN, and the management staff, ladies and gentlemen, rise and welcome him, please. TCN, TSP, you're welcome, sir.
Please, let's rise up to say welcome to our dear MD, Mr. Usman Gor Mohammed. You're welcome, sir. We are sorry to come a bit late. The MD had been to Abeokuta this morning, so you can see that he's a working MD. We'd like to quickly have the opening prayer. You know we are Nigerians, we are very prayerful people. We don't ever do anything without starting with prayer.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Allahumma shalli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama shallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma shalli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Welcome, sir. We pray to Almighty Allah that our deliberation today will be fruitful in the name of Almighty Allah. Thank you very much.
Pastor Nandi, please. Pastor Nandi. Where is he? Okay.
Can we stand to our feet, please, for our Lord and Savior? Our Father and our God, we thank you this morning for first of all giving us life. Without life that came from you, we would not have been here. Thank you for the life you gave to us in the name of Jesus. Amen. You taught us that all men, therefore in equality, let us celebrate the peace, progress and prosperity of this fine organization, Transmission Company of Nigeria, in the name of Jesus. Amen. In everything, take all the glory. For in Jesus' perfect name we have prayed. Amen.
Thank you very much. Before we go any further, I would like us to quickly introduce the GM and the AGMs in the house. We all know our GM, our dear daddy. Who said no? Who is the person that said no then? Let me just see your hand. You will just go on exile, no? We'll banish you from Lagos region. So for the avoidance of doubt, since we have one person in the house who says he doesn't know the GM. GM, please, sir, can you just stand a little? Okay, you can sit down, sir. Thank you very much. That's our GMT, Engineer B. Dokara. We also have all the AGMs in the house. I think I should start the introduction from the AGM ISO because it seems to be the lone AGM we have from ISO. So Can we give it up for... This man is my husband. You know, we Nigerians, once you're married to somebody from a particular place, you are the person's wife. Engineer Smart Omarogon, yes. So, AGMIS, so let's clap for him very well. We have sitting close to him, to his left-hand side, the AGMCS, Engineer Charles Iwamadi. So let me now introduce the outside the Lagos regional office AGM. You know what I mean by that. This is the regional. That's like the governors. Let's give it up for them, please. Those are the governors. We have the governors. The number one governor is in white with some trace of, is that black or navy blue? Let's clap for Engineer Lamina Adebola, please. It's the AGMC Ajah sub-region. Sitting very close to him is the governor of Ogun State. Ably represented here this afternoon by Engineer Davis, the governor of Kafalanto sub-region. You're welcome, sir. I can see my darling brother there. This my brother saved me from big glory yesterday. So let's give it up for Engineer Tony Dean, please. The governor of Akwa sub-region. While we have sitting close to him, another brother of mine, Engineer Alaji Majid Akintola, governor of Ikeja West sub-region. And the last but not the least governor, because we are praying for expansion, is Engineer Benga Jiboye, the AGMC again sub-region. Thank you very much. We have a whole array of PMs in our midst this morning, so I have to start mentioning them one after the other. I bet you will not leave the house today. All the PMs in the house, please rise for recognition. Thank you very much. You're welcome. I also want to say welcome to every other person seated over there. You are all very important persons. Please clap for yourself. Thank you very much for coming. I now want to welcome us all on behalf of the management and staff of Lagos Region Transmission. I want to say thank you for coming, even at such a short notice. Thank you. God bless you. Aside from us that are core staff of TCN, we have some very important persons in our midst also, who are our partners in this business. We have the General AGS Louis, in the person of Comrade Tony Agaike. Please come over here. Please come over here. We have a seat for you over here. Then the side is represented by the I think it's AGS. Sorry, I keep forgetting what your position is, Mr. Shobon. Please pardon me. Oh, Vice President Abi West, Mr. Tokunbo Shobon. Please let's clap for him. I don't want us to look down on him and say he's a staff. Okay, I think you should sit together. Let's bring success, please. Vacate that place for them. Our comrades said they would prefer to sit amongst the people there. Let's clap for them for that humble decision. very much.
A real heartbeat of the nation as far as power is concerned. And according to our present minister, he says, Eko ni baje o. He don't baje. Don't baje. That's right. He has no spoiled. Am I right? Thank you very much. And this is the seat of excellence. And because it is called the seat of excellence, we are working towards making sure that as far as power is concerned, this is the seat of excellence. I want to also welcome my colleagues, especially my frontline generals, who are the governors. If I'm the president, they are the governors. Without the governors, the president will sit. Thank you very much. You're welcome. The next level of generals are very, very important, and they are all here. You're welcome. Thank you very much. I also want to appreciate every one of you. I never believed that we can pull this crowd within hours. Can somebody help me shake somebody and say, thank you very much, thank you very much. I believe your people are excited to welcome you to the hospital. They have seen a lot of your courageous moves, a lot of your bold moves, and they have great hopes that this organization can safely again. I want to really assure you that I have a strong workforce, though not enough. But in the midst of all that, they still do their best to make Lagos Region the best. We are proud to say that, and we are happy that God has supported us in doing that. Honestly, all these stories about TCN in the university is a lie. We have a line capacity in Lagos of about 2,800 megawatts line capacity. We have transformer capacity in the neighborhood of 2,688 megawatts, meaning that our lines can supply all our transformers. That's the meaning. In the past 2 years, our power consumption in Lagos region has been the maximum of 1,200 megawatts. So to say, it's still very, very far from our capacity. We also we have a staff strength of 307 in TSP and 221 in ISP. And this population we are talking about is grossly inadequate. Grossly inadequate for the job we are doing. Having in mind that we are not full operation yet. Miami, to your credit, since you came to TCN as the head of this organization, we have made tremendous achievements. I just want to mention very few of them, but are very, very important for you to hear. But I may give you the details later. Since you came on board, we have installed 2 number 6 MVA transformers in Lagos region. We have also 2 ongoing installations of mobility, and all jobs involved are done by this same staff. We have rehabilitated 4 number transformers. A number of them were installed as far back as 1968. So many of you have not been born then. The 4 normal transformers we have rehabilitated have given us a value of about 270 MVA transformers we have brought back to life. And since we sealed them and rehabilitated them, we have not added any oil to any of them. In the past, we are topping them every other week, sometimes 3 to 4 times. We also send them on 146 by the job we have done. And in each of them, we have not spent up to 4 million in any of them. We have replaced 6 number 330 132 kVA circuit breakers. Some of we replace some of them that are obsolete, some of them that are bad, some of them that we are bypassed. We've done that within this short period. We have also repaired a number of breakers that we are affecting our operations. Some of them we are causing system collapse in the past. We have repaired 3. And since then, we have not had any issues from them. I want to appreciate all my engineers that have been involved in all those jobs. So it's not as if we do not have challenges. We have challenges and we've been managing with them. We are saying this is not that you will solve them today, tomorrow, but let them enter your ears so that when any of the management team that will be here will present them to you, you will know that we have mentioned them sometime. Let us talk about the work vehicles, and I know about it, and we have made a lot of proposals and things and efforts have been made to get the work vehicles for the region. But then, not just this region, I know that it will affect other regions. We don't have any motor crane, which we normally call hire. We don't have any in the entire region yet. We account for more than 30% of the entire road in the system. A lot of my AGMs do not have status vehicles. If not all of them, they don't have status vehicles. They manage the work vehicles that my linesmen or some other maintenance men use. The same one they use to field, to go and do their job, some of them are being managed with by the AGM. When there is no vehicle to do the job, they surrender their own work vehicles that they are using. They surrender. By MD, I know that you have recovered a lot of surplus vehicles in the field, and they are awaiting distribution. Please remember Lagos region. And for the fact that we account for 30% of, so sir, give us more than 30% of what you have. A number of our offices are not good enough for so many of us to stay. Most of the times we spend more time in the office than in our homes. Sometimes we stay here till about 9 o'clock. Some of the officers, not everybody anyway. It is good that we make some of our offices more comfortable. But we have tried in our own little ways to rehabilitate some of the offices since we came into office. At this day, the GM's office has a new chair, a new table, and a new sitting arrangement. It was not complete. And in my account department, that is the powerhouse. We have done some little rehabilitation there within our small limits. We are still going. My MD, if we increase the interest of the regions and the sub-regions, the situation will be better, and we will trouble you less. We will not trouble you too much the moment you give us enough impress to run these places. We will be managing ourselves the way we are doing, and we'll make it better that time, and I'm sure you'll be happy because we produce results for you. Our control rooms, of course you have observed that, and I'm sure I know the efforts you will be making to rehabilitate a number of the control rooms. I'm aware, but then it will be good that we still say it into your ears again, sir. Coming to human capital, you've been doing a lot of job trying to reschedule positions and things like that. We do not have enough human beings to run the system, and that has resulted in overstretching of so many of the workers. Some of them that work in the office sometimes they stay in the office in the night just because we don't have them. But thank God that we are still pushing on, and I am aware we are making an effort to do something in that direction, because we saw the circular you sent sometime and setting up a committee to reschedule positions and asking us to make input as per who we need. You have started on it already, but we have to mention it again to your ears, sir, so that whichever committee that is working on that, let the committee has taken its own action. We have set time with our number and then sent messages to you. I don't know whether they have reached you. Those messages are reaching or not. That give us a little free hand to bring in linesmen. Let linesmen not be employed at headquarters, so that the people that we want, people that we will employ here, and they will be ready to remain here and work here. Especially people we know their capacities. Some of them have been here as contract staff in one way or the other for so many years. We've known them. Some of them are outside. We go and borrow them whenever we want to do any job. But if we can bring in those good ones, this place will be a better place. We need linesmen, operators. Some of them, so many stations, you see one operator working from morning to night and then going on to the next day. Some of them cannot go on leave. And I'm sure, well, you've been a human resource person, irrespective of the fact that you are an accountant. I know your capability in human resources. Security men also, technical men, and above all, training. We need continuous training, especially for the technical staff. Especially, that does not mean that accounts and other support departments, they don't need it. But these technical people, if they are not trained, it's either they kill themselves or they kill others, or maybe they destroy the system. But if we train them regularly, they will be better human beings, and the system will be better. Somehow, I have mentioned the issue of imprest. And my organ, I'm aware that you know when this imprest we are operating now was last review, when petrol was about 22 naira, and then the outstation allowance was about another 3 naira or thereabouts, and we are still operating with that 22. So when you go with your management, think about it and see how we have this region and other regions. So if I say all the things that I've been told to say, some people are sending text messages into my message. Let me not continue. I will stop there. You're welcome, sir. We are happy to see you.
Thank you very much, sir. Our GM has enumerated the achievements and the challenges of Lagos region. Though some were left out, but we know the MD would do many of these things that we have asked him to do for us. He told me something while we were coming, but I don't want to say it. Let it come from him. We would like to have the MD respond to the address by the GNT Lagos region. MD, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether I will respond to the response of the GM Lagos, so I will address it. First of all, I want to thank you very much for taking your time to come out, despite the fact that you are supposed to be with your families in the weekend. I also want to apologize to you that I have not come before now. Honestly, I've been to Lagos, region, because I was in Ogun State. But I couldn't get time that time to come and address you. And because this thing was getting prolonged, so I decided to come today and see you. I think Lagos is the sixth region that I've visited. Remain only 2 regions. But you know we have 9 regions now. Abuja is a regional office now. It has been created. We have appointed a general manager. But you know, being the fact that Lagos is actually our biggest region, I should be here earlier than now. But I think it's better late than never. So I'm happy to meet you and to address it. Several things has happened, I think, in the last 5 months that I've been the MD of TCN. We don't have to address some of those things that you already know. But one thing that I want to tell you is that TCN is not the weakening link in the power sector as it's being believed. It's not the weakening link. And it was actually not the weakening link. It was not the weakest link. The problem is that we had a bad communication. We have not been communicating very well. So the other people who have a better communication system, they use their communication to dump whatever problem they have on TCN. So what we have done is to ensure that we communicate very well. The communication we are doing is not the grand press conference. I have never granted a single press conference since I came to TCN. And that is why I was even telling Madam that I will not grant a press conference. But you know, communication is a better way of communication. It's not only for you to go to the press and make noise. Engineer Opera will tell you that one of the communication we did, which was part of it, was we tried to bring out information about what's happening in the system. What did we do? What we did is that we took time to look at all our feeders, and on a daily basis we took how many feeders are out from the distribution site and for how many hours. That information we share with the critical stakeholders, and they knew where the weak link is. So this is how we did. We bring out all the information. And let me tell you, if you look at what happened at the last power sector meeting in Abuja, it was very, very clear. The permanent secretary challenged all the stakeholders that TCN is not the weak link. In fact, TCN is ahead of you, generation and distribution. And he challenged them to say otherwise. And none of them could challenge us. But then, even with that position, are we satisfied with where we are? No, we are not. Because transmission standard is that you are supposed to put what they call N-1 at every interface. Meaning, if you have a need for 60 megawatt, you are supposed to put 60 times 2. So that if one fails, the other one continues, so you don't have your feeling that something is missing. For example, what happened in Abuja, where 60 MVA transformer failed at Katampe, and the whole Abuja region became a problem. It should not happen. So even with this capacity that we have, because we have about 7,000 megawatt capacity, distribution cannot pick more than 4,300 as of now. Generation cannot generate up to 6,000. So we are still ahead of them. But is it enough? No, it's not enough. Because the requirement of Nigeria is actually far, far higher than that. So this is the situation. So what have we done in the last few months? We have done so many things which I can call hard, We have done things which I can say soft. On the hard side is the issue of investment. We look at our sources of revenue. Where are our sources of revenue? We have IGR, which is from what we are getting from the market. What we are getting from the market is an average of about 30% of our revenue. So whatever we bill, we are getting only about 30% of it. So with that amount, I don't think it's enough for us to be able to deploy investment through 30%, because what we are getting is not more than what we can pay our salary. So in trying to look at how we can expand the network and put the N-1 capacity that I'm telling that I told you, when we review at IGR, it's not good enough. We look at the possibility of whether we can also enter into PPP with some private sector. That one also is not going to be possible now, especially at large capacity. It's not going to be possible because for every PPP that you enter, you have to have enough revenue to finance it. Meaning you have to set aside certain part of revenue, either in the form of sinking fund or whatever, to pay for your liability when they crystallize. So that's not good enough. So the only and the easiest way I can raise money is through multilateral, from multilateral donors. So, and I also want to tell you that my coming is a collaboration of Ministry of Finance, the Presidency, and the Ministry of Power. So it's easier for me to go and talk to Ministry of Finance and look, if you want me to see how we can raise the profile and work, make TCN to work, we need money, and we need you to support me. I need you to support me. And they agreed. They said everything I want, Ministry of Finance agreed, they will support me. So the next thing we are to do is to look at, to talk to the donors that we want them to give us money. When I spoke with the donors, they said TCN capacity to implement project is not more than $100 million per annum. In fact, there's a report from the World Bank that indicated that TCN capacity to implement project is about $100 million of a project per annum. If that is the case, it means that TCN cannot expand its capacity. Because in a year, the equipment that may fail in a year can be up to 100. So if the equipment that can fail can be 100, and you are putting only 100, it means you are just merely scratching the asset. You are not doing anything. So we have to find out the reason why we don't implement projects, particularly implement multilateral donor projects. You recall that the NEGIP, Nigeria Electricity and Gas Improvement Project, is a project that I led the preparation of that project when I was in TCN. And after I left TCN, because it was at the last lap when I left, in fact, I was in African Development Bank. I was called to come and help the World Bank team to finalize the project. So it means that project was conceived and finalized when I was about to leave TCN. I came back after 9 years. This project is still under implementation. What does that tell us? It tells us that it confirms that we don't have capacity for implementing project. Because a project lifeline should be between 3 and 4 years maximum. So if a project has stayed more than 9 years or 10 years, that means the project is not being implemented well. So when we try to find out what is our problem, one of the things that we found out as a first for the reason why TCN did not have much capacity to implement project is the issue of oversight. TCN did not have much oversight over multilateral donor project. What do I mean by that? It means that when they say this is a World Bank project, the management says it's a World Bank project. So maybe they don't know how World Bank projects are implemented, and then this project are left without proper oversight from TCN. So this is one problem. The second problem that has come out, which is very clear, is this issue of over-centralization. Everything is centralized around Abuja. In fact, for the FGM project, You will see one engineer that is supervising a project in Lagos, he's supervising another project in Sokoto, he's supervising one in Maiduguri, one is the same person supervising project in Kwara. In fact, it has even happened to me. I went to Maiduguri to go and find out what is the reason why the 330 substation that the minister was promised that it would be commissioned in January was not completed. I found out the reason why it was not completed because there is a communication problem between a contractor who bought the equipment and the contractor who is installing. Some of the equipment were not handed over to the contractor that is installing, and I forced the contractor that bought the equipment to bring the equipment by air, and they did it in less than 2 weeks. But what happened? After 1 month, I didn't see any movement on that project. And I called the contractor that why is it? The contractor told me point blank that he cannot talk to me. There is one senior manager that he can talk to. He cannot talk to me. So this is the kind of mentality that is taking place in TCS. Initially, one general manager has also said something like that. He went to a substation just like in Opera to go and find out the installation taking place by a contractor. And the contractor prevented him from entering that one senior manager had to clear in Abuja. And that senior manager did not clear, and they didn't allow him to enter the place. So this is the ills of over-centralization that I'm saying. So this is the problem that we have to solve. Another problem that is affecting our capacity to implement projects is this issue of procurement. Procurement is a big problem. We have problem with qualification criteria and the selection process. It will interest you to know that in TCL, I will just give you one example. There's a contractor that was given a contract to install 2 by 60 MVA in a town they call Oba, very close to Newi. That contractor abandoned that project after collecting 81% offshore and 54% downshore. The same contractor was given another contract in Walalande, in Kano. That contractor collected about 90% of offshore and about 60%, and that contract is abandoned. Same contractor was given contract to install 1 by 60 MVA in Aba and 1 by 60 MVA again in Port Harcourt. The same contractor failed to perform under World Bank, and the contract was cancelled on December 6th. It was the contractor that I battled to collect the advance payment and performance bond. So this is the nature of our TCS. This is the nature of TCS. So we have to solve the problem of this qualification and selection criteria of contractors. So what did we do? What we do is that what we discovered, what was happening before is that if there is a rat, which is Yuji Mohammed, and a lion, which is Madam Sheikh, Madam Sheikh. She's supposed to see me, and I believe that she's here. She can hear us. She's also one of our friends, where she has been our consultant. Madam is the lion from China or from India. Yuji is the rat here in Nigeria. The rat and the lion has entered into agreement. They will do a business of supply and installation of power equipment. This is what happened. The rat and the lion, when they entered the joint venture, most of the time the rat is the one that went and brought the lion. Most of the time. So the rat and the lion, when they enter the agreement, the rat will bring the equipment and the rat will install. This is how it. So TCL will pay them advance payment. When they pay the advance payment, then the TCL will also establish LC in the name of the lion. So lion will ship the equipment eventually, and the rat will not be able to install because rat has taken the advance payment that he collected to buy car, marry wives, build house, and leave TCL. Then you will hear equipment. Then sometimes they will remember their grandfather that died 10 years ago. Isn't it? Then they will celebrate it. equipment will come and you stay in the port. That's why you have several equipment in the port. Like, it cannot be clear. How law of contract, we have also done commercial law. If you look at commercial law, in a contract like that, they are severally and individually liable, isn't it? So if the contract fails, if you go to court, they are supposed to be severally and individually liable, including the lion that is not here. But the question is, before you prove that, you have to go to court. And you know our court process. How many of these cases are you going to prove it? How many of them? You cannot prove it. So to solve that problem, that is the reason why we redefine qualification criteria now. We said if there's a tender and the qualification criteria require, the qualification require a turnover of $100 million and a cash flow of $100 million, just an example. And the experience of 10 related work experience, meaning the person has done this kind of work 10 times. We are saying that is that each, either the rat and the lion have to be defined. So what we are saying is that, and that's exactly what we did in the AFD Finance Abuja Transmission Project. The rat should bring 60%, the lion should bring 60% of those experience, and the rat should bring 40%. And if you have 10 rats, each of the 10 rats must have the 40%. Because each of the 10 rats that is in the joint venture and doesn't have capacity can create problem for you. So this is what we did. And that is why they took me to National Assembly. They even wrote to the president that I have gone against domestic content, that I have come with a World Bank mentality or African Development Bank mentality, that I'm working for WTO. There's nothing they didn't say. But let me tell you something for information. The first person who organized a workshop for Nigerian contractors to enable them win contract under a World Bank project in 2007 was me. I organized that workshop on I organized that workshop on the 1st of March 2007. About 50 contractors attended in Sheraton Hotel. So if I am that kind of person in 2007, why should I change now? But it's not that I changed. The question is that we either have to be liars and stupid and be dancing and be working stupidly, or we have to do things differently. And also, let me tell you something. There's no foreign company that will come to Nigeria and install and do substation business without having an agreement with Nigeria. There's no. Nobody can do that. And if you look at our equipment, about 98% or 99% of our equipment are imported. So the only difference now is that whether you say it's a Nigerian or a foreign company, is the margin that is being shared. That's the only thing that's different. Is the margin that the Nigerian will get or the margin that the foreign company will get. But let me tell you, all those foreign companies, even if they win here, they have to deal with Nigerians. That's a fact. The only thing that has changed is that the risk has shifted. So I, Rat, and Madam Cheyenne, who is a lion, I will not be liable to TCN if the contract fails. It's Madam Cheyenne that will hold responsible. That's what. And Madam Cheyenne, who happened to be somebody who has done business all over the world, I'm sure she will not allow a rat that was well done. That's the only thing that has changed. So that is what we are doing. So since we have come in, what we have done is that we have to try and redefine and point out wherever is the fault of TCN, give it to TCN. Wherever is the fault of any other person, let that person take his responsibility. And that's what we have been doing in the last 5 months. Now for information, when we came out with this information, we are able to raise $1.55 billion so far now to implement project with TCN. And for information and for you to agree that TCN does not lack capacity. We have some of the best engineers you can ever find in this world. The only problem we have is leadership. It's leadership. I didn't bring anything apart from leadership. That's the reality. I challenge our engineers that look, this project we are not going to hire consultants. You are the one that will prepare this project, and we are going to send to the donors. And for information, we have completed the preparation of this project completely. The scope of feasibility study, all of them are done by TCN engineers. No single consultant is involved. So when I went to Senate, and they challenged me that, look, how can you do this kind of project? Do you think we have capacity to implement this kind of project? I say it's true. You are legitimate to express your fear. Your fear is legitimate. Because if you look at our history, we have this problem. But I told them also I was involved in the conception of NIPP. And in 2005, we told Imoke that Nigeria doesn't have capacity to implement 5 billion projects. And what we told him came out. So I also know that this problem of capacity is something that is legitimate and they are right to say it. But if you look at what we have done in the last 5 months, if anything to go by, I think we are working differently. We are not working like before. And let me also tell you what we have been able to achieve also. We have extracted from the multilateral donors that we are going to do advanced procurement. We are also going to do what they call retroactive financing. So we don't wait for the project to go to board and approve before we start the preparation. That is why I think we are supposed to have the advert for Lagos and Kaduna region. We are supposed to have it about 3 weeks ago. Unfortunately, we didn't have it because we had to amend the contract, especially to take care of the problem of AJA. Some people feel that if we remove the AJA from the World Bank, it will be faster. It will be faster done through government funding. At a point when we have gone very far. So when we remove it, it brought us backward. But we are at the final stage to do that tender. And once that is done, the remaining templates will just go autopilot. But let me tell you what we do also, before I forget, on the issue of procurement. We have also come up with another thing on procurement. If you don't know, your country is a nation of contractors. Most of their English that you see them with the big cars that intimidate you on the road, they don't have trademark, they don't have farm, they don't have any business, they depend on government. So we have to do something to immune ourselves from their excesses and their problems. So those people will go, if there's a tender, they will tender and put, if something that it can cost 10 million, they can go and tender 5 million. They didn't tender because they want to do the job. They tender to take advance payment and leave you. There's nothing you can do to them. So what we did to clear those people is that we insist that we have to do 2-stage bidding process for every of our bid. We tender for qualifications before we tender for the goods. What am I trying to say? Tender. So we qualify people first before we go for the tender. This is what we are doing to eliminate those people. So this is where we are working. So on the soft side, let me also tell you on the soft side. We have looked at the grid. Whatever we are doing in the grid, even if we put all the capacities, we need to stabilize the grid. In stabilizing the grid, we have to do so many other things. One of them is this issue of frequent, what do you call it? One of them is the issue of spinning reserve. If you check the broadcast that they do today, you see either the spinning reserve is 0 or is 40. With a generation of 400 megawatt or 4,000 megawatts, we are supposed to have 10% spinning reserve, meaning we are supposed to have 400 megawatt of spinning reserve. But we have only either 40 or 0. We have had several meetings on this, and finally we resolved that. The generators came out clearly to tell us that they will not give us the spinning reserve unless we give them good incentive. That the tariff for spinning reserve is not good. I quickly set up a committee headed by Engineer Lawal ISO, and they headed by Lawal with representative of the generation companies that are providing the spinning reserve, that we have agreement with them on the spinning reserve. And they came up with what they think is a reasonable tariff. We forwarded it to NAC. It's one of the tariffs that they are considering under the minor review now. The next thing that we need to do to stabilize the grid is that, and it's very clear, when I came newly, because I came with the mindset of former PSCN, because even as at PSCN when it was public company, when there's a system collapse, everybody feel it that there's something wrong somewhere. I came down, the first thing I had, the system collapse. So I asked, who caused this system collapse when I called the NCC? They said it's a big Kainji, Jabba, caused the system collapse. So I called the MD of Jabba. I said, your station has caused system collapse. Can you explain? He said, now I'm in Kainji. I'm in Jabba. There's nothing wrong with my system. So I called the acting GM of NCC. And I asked him, I said, this is what this man said. So what I said, he said, no sir, I'm telling you, I swear, the problem was caused by Jabba. I said, okay, I have control over you, I don't have control over the people in Jabba. Can you take all your engineers that you think they have the capacity, carry all the equipment that you have, go to Jabba and establish who is at fault? So he carried his people, he went to Jabba. I expect him to call me back. He never called me back. What happened next? The man, the MD of Jabba now was the one that called me. He called me and said, my brother, your people has come and there's no fault of ours. They couldn't prove that we are the one that caused it. So I called my GM, acting GM. How you are finished this and you have not come back to me? He said, yes sir, we have checked, it's not their fault. I said, whose fault? They couldn't establish. So that becomes very necessary. We have to have functional SCADA, whether we like it or not. Isn't it? So I also set up a committee on SCADA. It's not because I like committees, no. But if you have been wearing clothes and you don't know how to wear it very well, I think you have to ask people to tell you how can you wear clothes. We attempted SCADA sometime several years ago, it failed. The second attempt I was involved because it was done under World Bank project, which I was there. And it also failed. And to the best of my knowledge, I know I did so many things. In fact, it was the reason why Asuzu had to leave PME. It was that SCADA. Because at that time, when we recruited Siemens to be the contractor, we had to recruit a consultant that would supervise the contractor. And the engineers said that the last attempt at SCADA was done by Siemens. And one of the problems they have been having with Siemens was that they used to work at night. Sometimes they talk in German, they don't hear what they are talking. So at that time, we had to hire a consultant to supervise the German. You have Fischner, you have Lamaya, all those important companies where Germany are there. So I was one of the people who was supposed to evaluate the consultant. We are 6. So when they gave me this information, I always go for offense. So I said, if that is the case, then we have to make sure that we don't recruit a consultant from Germany. Since if they will come and talk in German language, then that means we have to kick them out. So our colleague didn't know how to do it. I said, look, this is consultants. There's a lot of discretion in the procurement of consultants. It's not like goods. So whatever we give, World Bank cannot kick it out. So I assembled my colleagues. It was chaired by Engineer Konko. You know Engineer Konko? So I assembled them and I told them to score the German companies low. And let's score those that can speak English better. So that was what we did. So, but even with all those things that we did, it failed. We didn't get the best of it. Currently, the SCADA can see only 40% of our network. And even the 40% is seeing it with their several deficiencies that is making it not to be seen. So when we set up the committee, we asked them, tell us why on 2 attempts we tried to do SCADA and it failed. That's what we told them. They came up with a report that indicated the reason why the SCADA has failed. Now let me tell you what we are doing. In preparing the project that we are doing now, this $1.5 billion that we are preparing, we are addressing all the deficiencies that made the SCADA not to succeed. Let me tell you, all the substations that we are installing as transformer in Lagos here, I think about 90% of the substations in Lagos we are touching them. Of SCADA is on right now. Is on. We have launched the process. Now, if we even solve the problem of SCADA, we solve the problem of spinning reserve. There's issue of also frequency control, which is, you see, 51.something all the time. That is not, it doesn't make sense. This one also, we call several meetings of generators, and they play games. They are not serious. So the last one was on 25th of April. You know, it's easy for you to deal with people when you are not known. You are not somebody. Like somebody who have no address like me. I don't fear anybody because I don't have any address. You don't know my father, so you cannot call my father and tell him to stop. I'm not a politician, so you don't have any politician you can talk to him and tell him to stop. So this is the way we are able to deal with them. And how did we do it? When we fix a date of 25th of April for us to meet and agree on the SCADA, the Association of Generators wrote me an email and said that I don't have right to fix meeting without consulting me. And on their own, they decide to propose that the meeting should take place 3 weeks after the date that I proposed. So I wrote them, I said, look, calling you for that meeting is a privilege, it's not a right. As the MD of TCN, I have control over the grid code. It is my duty to implement the grid code. So, and under the grid code, it is very clear, it's unambiguous, that every generator that is connected to our network, that generator has to provide free governor control. Therefore, it's a privilege that I'm calling you. So if you like, you come for the meeting. If you like, you don't come for the meeting. But if we meet that day, whether one person comes or nobody comes, whatever we agree, we are going to implement it. We are going to implement it. So they wrote me that they have a secretariat headed by one lady who happened to be a wife of my friend. She sent me an email and said that if I behave arrogantly, that they have a way of dealing with me. She wrote me and said they will deal with me. So I replied her, I said, Madam, I have been communicating with you not because you are an association of generators, but because I give you respect because your husband is my friend and you know it. But now that since you have shown that you are arrogant and you are stupid, I will not communicate with you again. Whatever you think you want to do to me, go ahead and do it. But our date is Saturday. So the meeting took place on the 25th of April, and we agreed that until 2nd of May, we are going to implement free governor control. Everybody have to be there. For information, to show them that I'm not playing game, I refused to attend that meeting. I sent the head of ISO and I said, go and agree with them, I'm not going there. I refused to go there. To tell them I'm not playing game because I'm not going there to go and negotiate or discuss with them. So that was, and I told you, this is the date. Either they agree or they don't agree, we are going to implement. And I accepted. Some of them went and wrote to the highest level of authority in Nigeria that I'm arrogant, that they are going to shut the system, that they are going to make the power sector, they'll close the power sector. It's a threat, but I know it's all empty threat. There's nothing they can do. So when the date comes, all of them implemented the free governor control, which we are enjoying now. Since May 22nd, even without spinning reserve, we had only one system collapse. And even that system collapse that we had, it was a mistake of some staff in mistake or it's a deliberate action. Because they knew that, because there's a system planning study that indicated you cannot put up to 400 megawatts on the line between Benin and Omotosho. And they decided to put that megawatt on that line. That's how the system collapsed. And we have since given them query. We are waiting for them to reply why they did this, because they know they shouldn't do it. So this is where we are. But let me tell you, it's not a free lunch. We have had serious problems. If we call the GMNCC, he will tell you. There was a time I took out the whole of Japa. Even next week there will be a meeting because they reported me to the minister. Because they are fighting, I took them out completely. What happened? Japa is not on free government. What we gave the NCC is that anybody who is not on free government, if there's a need for you to reduce load, reduce them. That's what we said. So they told Governor Japa reduce your load, and they refused to reduce the load. They told them they refused. At 11:30 at night, they called me, and they said Japa has refused to reduce load, and they are not on free government. I said, okay, is there any way you can take them out completely? They said yes. I said, okay, remove Japa from this grid completely. And we removed them. That sends signal to them that we are not playing game. All other people who are misbehaving, because we kept them out for 24 hours before we returned them. So this is where we are working. Now, on the other side, even on the economy side, I know also that if you want to retain the best and attract the best, you have to pay. Where I was working in African Development Bank, it's an organization where you can have a GM, like Opera who is a GM, and you can have a PM that is earning higher than you, depending on her performance. Our salary was not based on increment that you do, it's tied to the market. So if there's an inflation, our salary is automatically adjusted. So if I come here now, after working there for 9 months, and pretend that things are normal, I don't think I'm telling the truth. So, but how do we improve our salary? There are two things we need to do. We have to increase the revenue, or we have to reduce our cost. And that is why we are working very hard to reduce our cost. For information, we have taken a decision that every work that our staff can do, we will not give it to contractor. And Opera can confirm. And Opera can confirm that we have given him to install how many transformers now?
We are installing 4.
Let me tell you, these 4 transformers that is installed, they are installing. If we have given to contractors, what we are giving him is less than 10% of what we will have given a contractor to be installed. And I will give you a concrete example. There is a transformer to be installed in Bauchi by a contractor. The contract was awarded 6 years ago. The advance payment of 10% that was paid was 22 million. Wow. The contractor failed to perform. 1 month ago, no, about 2 months ago, we wrote him a letter giving him final warning and all this. He refused to respond. So 1 month ago, we cancelled the contract. And we asked Bauchi Region, can you give us estimate of how, if we give you, you can install? Bauchi Region give us 16 million to install the whole transformer, to do all the job. That 10% of it is 22 million. So this is how it is. I can give you time. Dambua, the contract that they earmarked to give a contractor was 22 million, 228 million. When we asked Bauchi to install, Bauchi installed it at the rate of 18 million. But the danger is that some of our staff are getting more income from the contractor than what they're getting from TCS. So it's a big problem, and those people are working to frustrate us all over the place. That's the reality. So when we see that our income was improving, we discussed with the committee. We met after our meeting with Lewi is here. We agreed that the committee on a review of allowance should complete their job. They eventually completed the job. We forwarded it to minister to approve. We have to follow the rule. I have never given minister anything that he refused to approve. Even the Abuja regional office, when I gave it, he approved. So I cannot say I will start backstopping. I have to follow the rules since he has never refused to follow what we agree with him. When we sent him, he checked the paper and he discovered that there's some mistakes, and he returned it to us. And he said we should correct it. That does not mean he rejected it. He said we should correct it. Our people took some time to correct that, something that is supposed to be corrected very, very quickly. It was only yesterday that they corrected the paper, which I sent it to the minister, and I believe you will approve so that we pay the allowance that we are talking about. So, on the other hand, we are also working to improve our bottom line. If you remember, the market rule was mutilated, and so even some of the point load customers were transferred to the distribution company, even when they are adding no value to those customers. For example, those customers that are connected to our 33 kV and 132 interface, or those that are connected to 330, what value addition that distribution is adding? No value addition, but they transfer it to them. We wrote it, and if you look at the change in the market rule, of course they changed the market rule. They have also changed the, they have done some orders. But the question is that, if you look at the grid code, if you look at the act, some of the changes they did is actually against the act. And if there's a disagreement between the act and any of the subsidiary law, the acts prevail. We wrote to NAC and they are working on it to see how they can transfer some of the point load customers back to TCS. If that is done, automatically our revenue will jump to 60%. This is a reality. The next thing that we did that will also likely change our profile. In the recent, the recent minor review hearing interaction that we did with NAC. Before we went for that meeting, I asked people from NAC, I didn't even ask from TCS, tell me how TCS used to go for this market review or this tariff review. And the information they gave me is that TCS used to go as a divided house. You have TSP working against ISO, market operator working against ISO. So we made sure that before we go there, we did our homework. Not only that, we went there as a team. And for information, when we went there, we forced NAC to agree that they are going to do extraordinary tariff review for TCS for the first time. They are going to do what? Extraordinary tariff review for TCS. Right now, we are working on the documentation that will make us to present the case for extraordinary tariff review for NAC. If that didn't happen, let me tell you, it's not the fault of NAC. Maybe fault of government. Government stopped it. But they have made it very clear, and we have minutes of meeting, that TCS should prepare for extraordinary review, tariff review. They have agreed they will do it. So this is the way we are working. When I came earlier, I told you that I promise you that I'll be transparent. I'll make sure that I represent you. I have not changed. I'm telling you, I've never changed. I've not had any luxury to myself. Engineer Opara will agree with you, we can confirm to you that I don't stay in a suit. In a hotel, I don't stay in a suit. I don't enter business class. By my nature, look, if you attach some luxury to yourself, if you attach enjoyment and some luxury to yourself, there's no way you can immune yourself from corruption. Because you will think of how you will maintain this enjoyment. So you will have to be corrupt whether you like it or not. And we took it to a point that we are not going to do things that will make us stupid. That is reality. But I tell you, our organization is in terrible bad shape, whether we like it or not. Do you know that most of these transmission lines that we have, do you know that contractors give us money. If the distance is 100 kilometers, we make it 150. Do you know that? Do you know that? It It is that bad. The line from Gulag, from Yola to Gulag is 240 kilometers. TCN went and signed contract of 370. Distance by road from Damaturu to Gashua by road is 185 kilometers. We went and signed transmission line 245 kilometers. So the only way we can succeed is for us to do away with this. And what I tell people is that, what are you looking for? If you are stealing money simply because you think your children will be better than you, better than other people, it's a lie. When we are in the university, we that cannot afford 3 square meters, we are better than some our classmates that have cars when we are in the university. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? So if you think that now you are just amassing wealth because you want your children to be better than other people, you are lying. So we have to live differently. We shouldn't allow people to be. Let me tell you, nobody will develop Nigeria except Nigerians. And if we don't develop Nigeria, we can continue to pretend we are giant of Africa, but we are stupid. We are not giant of anything. Because if you have 10 children and you cannot feed them very well, how can you claim that you are better than somebody who has 2 children? It doesn't make sense. And we can continue to divide ourselves according to tribe, religion, and all this nonsense. But we go to the same market. Is it not so? This is the problem. So it's a promise that we'll do our best. As I can tell you, I don't know how long I'm going to stay. I know I have an agreement for 1 year. I still agree I will stay the 1 year. I don't know whether I will even reach 1 year in this place. But what I believe is that I will not do wrong to you. Nobody will force me to do anything that is wrong within this time that I'm here. Engineer Opara, okay, there's also issue of tax. I think sometimes people create problem. It's the same TCN staff that went and created this problem of tax. When they say we are not paying enough tax, it was after we even did this town hall meeting. They are called a meeting. Say, those people who say we are not paying tax, can you give me the letter of the person who say we are not paying appropriate tax? There's nobody who will say it. Nobody who will confirm. Which means we sit down and we create problem for ourselves. A government agency, government are the one collecting tax, not so. So if we are not paying tax, I don't know the one that was supposed to say you are not paying tax. So if they didn't say, how did we say we are not paying tax? Yeah? Now, I took a decision that we are empowering the regional office. I have not changed my mind. The only problem is that, let me also tell you that if you are in a ship and you are the only one that is taking this, it's also a problem. When some of your colleagues don't believe in the vision that you have, it has to be gradual. It takes a long time. But even with that, Engineer Opara will confirm that there are several things that we are doing that is different from the way it is done before. First of all, nobody sits in Abuja and award contract of cutting trees in Lagos. Is it not so? Nobody. Or cut trees in Benin or in Oshobo. The regional managers in Oshobo, they should know who should cut trees. And if they bring wrong people that did not cut trees and the tree touch our line, we sanction them. Have you? That is how we continue. And we have also taken a decision that every month we send money to install all the transformers that are on the ground. Right now, about 11 transformers have been installed simultaneously all over the country by our TCN staff. We have also earmarked money for installation of another 5, which will start from next month. So this is, we continue to do that. We also take a decision that all contracts, there are some contractors that are in TCN, that their job is 98%, but they refuse to complete it. You know why they are not completing? You know why they are not completing? Because TCN is their farm. They want to be charging variation every year. They will be collecting variation since they don't have another contract. They want to be charging variation on those contracts. We took a decision now that all those contractors, we are going to move in to complete the job for them. It's not that we are going to stop paying them. We will pay them their money, but we stop the variation. One of the good examples of what we did is what we did in Kukwaba. We move in, all the people that did the commissioning in Abuja, Kukwaba, it's our staff. It's our engineers that enter the place and commission the place for them. And that's how we are going for all those substations that refuse to complete their work. There are many of them like that. We have situations where also under the FGM contracts, where the contractors deliberately have no capacity to do the job. Some of them are those ones that the famous Igbo contractors. You hear about Umbalano, Ukiwe, Ohavia, all those ones. Those contractors in 2001, they collected 50%. Some of them have completed their job. One of them has completed. Those that completed are paying security for the past 5 years. The other ones have refused to complete their work. We are forcing them to bring a subcontractor to take over from them. In fact, one of them, when I said that they have to bring somebody who will take over from them, he said, over his dead body, he will not do it. Instead, he said that whatever I'm going to do, he will not. I said, okay, if you don't do it, we are going to cancel the contract. I said, you will go to court. I said, if you go to court, I will go to the court of public opinion and shame you. Say, what do you mean? I say, you are from Ohafia, and this transmission line will go to your town. I will publish it to your people that this is what it is. He says, it's blackmail. I said, of course it's blackmail. I'll blackmail you. Now that contractor has nominated a competent subcontractor to take over from you. This is the way we are going. There are so many things I can say. The issue of operators. The issue of operators that Engineer Opara mentioned is really serious. But the question is that we have made a point that we have to install SCADA. So if we install SCADA, even the current operators that we have, they are too much. That is why, as management, we take a decision that, look, since we have launched the procurement of SCADA, and we believe this time around, we have to get it right. I said we have to get it right. So we took a decision that, look, let's be recruiting those that retire, let them continue. That's why we took the decision. But even with that, we had a problem. We had a complaint that some of those AGMs, they come to control room, they don't work, they cannot be controlled. There was a time that I even approved some of them. I have to reverse my approval. Just like I approved something on retirement, when they will call my attention and said that what I approved was wrong. I admitted that I was wrong. I'm not a superhuman being. I also can make mistakes. And I reversed that order that when the GS called me and said, look, that thing you approved was wrong. Because when I told my colleagues, let's reverse it, they reversed it without admitting that we made an error. And I said, no, let's put we made an error in reversing this. And we did that. We did it. On the issue of training, we are going to train our staff. This is a must. There's no we cannot train our staff. But we cannot also be doing training the way it's being done under Manitoba. That's not acceptable. You have a system planner that has not been trained on system planning for the past 5 years. The software is using is the software of 2012. And you send him you go and spend $25,000 on training on corporate governance. How do you explain that kind of training? So right now, we are reviewing, even our staff, we have shortage of staff, whether you like it or not. Particularly non-technical, technical staff. We have significant shortage of technical staff. But for us to prove that, we have to have review to show clearly. And we are working, the review has almost been completed. We are going to send it to minister for them to approve. We have to recruit staff. Particularly for TSP. That's the reality. But let me also tell you what we have done is that we have to introduce pupillage. We have a committee to review our training, and we discovered that a lot of our engineers that receive training from NAPTIM is a good training, but it doesn't give them the kind of exposure that is needed. So we set up a committee, they review it, they came up with a report, which we review, and we approve that every new engineer that will come to TCS will pass through a pupillage of 1 year. It's not going to be a pupillage of 2 years like before, because before they go to generation, they go to distribution. This time around, they are not going to generation, so we believe 1 year is adequate. Now, the issue of vehicles, we try to buy a significant number of vehicles for us to distribute to the regional office. I can tell you that when I went to Maiduguri, the motor they came to pick me in the airport, which is the only motor there, I couldn't enter it. But look at even the problem of that place. When they go to Clearfield on the road and their motor spoiled, they have to run to the bush because of insecurity. So these people should have a car that is functional and good, not a car that can break down easily. So we try to buy several cars. Unfortunately for us, you know, I came at the end of the financial year. We pushed for this. We were able to meet the deadline. But when we sent it to Federal Executive Council, it was stepped down because there's a thinking among some of the members of the FC, the Federal Executive Council, that we want to rush to buy cars because the year was coming to an end. And that's how it was stepped down. But that we have not stopped. We will still continue to work to see that we get, particularly heavy duty vehicles. We are not talking about this type of motor that Opara is using. We are talking about Hiluxes, we are talking about crane, we are talking about Land Rovers that can go to the bush and clear flat. We will buy them. But we have also discovered that several staff are keeping cars more than what they require. It will interest you to know that in your organization, there's one person that is keeping up to 7 cars or 8 cars in me. Some of them are pickups and several of them. What Opara was saying that we have recovered up to 50 now. But we still have more that we are pushing them to recover them. And when we concluded in Opara, every pickup, every kilo that have been recovered will go to the field, will not stay in Abuja. And we have recovered many of them. I think let me stop here because I know there are a lot of questions. So let me hear from you. Our NEWI and Senior Staff Association are here also. I believe they will want to ask questions. Thank you very much.
Let's give it up for the MD for his address to us. He has touched every aspect. Thank you very much, sir. Like the MD just said, the 2 in-house unions are present, represented by the AGS and the VP for the SAEG. So they have short addresses for the MDCU and every one of us. We'd like to welcome Comrade Agaike to give us the NUI's perspective on what is happening in TCN. Thank you very much. Before he comes on, please, I forgot to mention earlier on while I was introducing the union officials that we also have in our midst this afternoon the VP professional for NUI in the person of Comrade Sonyaolu. Can we please clap for him? Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Comrade Ageke, thank you. I can see your list very long. I hope you will compress everything for us. Thank you.
Solidarity. Nothing. The IMD, members of the management team here present, my colleagues, good afternoon. MD, we say welcome to Lagos. In Lagos, we have one balance. We say a go for show, meaning that when Lagos sneezes, every part of the country catches cold. So you are welcome to the state of aquatic splendor. Well, I wouldn't know, the Madam Public Affairs said very brief remark. I have so much to talk about, and each time I am censored like this, it puts me under pressure. I wouldn't know where to start from and where to end, which one to mention and which one to leave out. But if they say I should come and greet MD, I'll just say hello to MD and walk away. Is that okay with you? No. Okay, I should talk. Yes. Do I have immunity to talk? Yes. MD, they say I should talk. Give us some time. Don't worry, start timing me. Well, so much has been said as to what has been done within the short time you have occupied office. 5 months or 6 thereabout. And I would say that the first time we met, I saw an MD, I saw an individual that came with a lot of zeal to work. And I am happy to say that with what I have seen and heard, that zeal to work has not diminished. So keep it up, sir. Everything you see written here is not all about demands. I equally took time to write down, take jottings from every comment that has been made so far. And if there's anything I equally took down, I know you talked about communication. For me, communication is effective when we have positive results coming out of it. We are glad to have you in our midst. And my only appeal is that we will take time to reel out some things. Let it not just remain on paper. We want to see the actualization or implementation of these things. When we talk labor, labor is not all about give us this, give us that. We are equally interested in the welfare of the system. And what that means is that whatever it takes for TCN to get their own share of the money from the market operator, labor is equally interested. Because if the portion of our own money does not come to us, there won't be money to pay salaries. So if we come here to only say, give us, and we don't look at the system, then it's an aberration. MD, you have taken time to say so much. But I want to equally say that an average worker seated here this afternoon, if you ask him or her to say anything concerning the things you say, the $100 million may not be remembered, the $5 billion may not be remembered, but if MD has said that the committee set up to negotiate increment in salaries and allowances have finished work and implemented, ask a common staff here today, they will remember that one. MD, I'm going somewhere. So much has been said about vehicles. So much has been said about interest. But from the labor end, we want to reiterate, it does not only affect management, it impacts negatively even on the workforce. We have done lots of analysis here. When fuel pump price was 22 naira, the same interest. Today we are buying at over 190 something. It is the same interest. How do you expect us to function? Recently I attended an area joint consultative meeting somewhere, and a station as big as that with about 4 substations had only one work vehicle that was not even reliable. I listened to the plans you have. The only thing I could not get out from those things, MD sir, there is need to categorize all these plans: short term, medium term, long term. Of everything that has been said, the ones that should come under short term, sir, I think we should be looking at increasing this interest. that one should come under very short term, so that the system on its own does not collapse as a result of lack of funding to run it. Of course, most of the transmission locations have very peculiar terrains. It is so difficult and increasingly difficult to access those terrains without work vehicles. If we have been able to recover 50 and we are still counting, sir, let us not waste time with an appeal that you send these vehicles to the field in order to reduce the hardship these stations are facing. Some of the vehicles they are having today, sir, are as old as the stations they run themselves. And when they go for stakeholders meeting, perceived stakeholders meetings called by the minister, they will go there and blow their trumpet. But because TCN is streamlined, that bureaucracy, they tie us. Even when others are saying TCN is the problem, TCN is the problem, the Public Affairs Department is not allowed to say anything. It is high time we equally start talking. Why? Because most times a dog is called a bad name in order to hang it. So we are glad you have started talking. You should talk more, sir. The other aspect we want to quickly talk about, everything I have listened to here today touched every facet. But if I'm to categorize them under percentage, I will say the technical aspect took about 90% of the discussion, and the one that borders on human resource is begging for 10%. So I will, craving your indulgence, quickly mention these areas, sir. We are having issues when it comes to medical. Prior to the implementation of the TSA policy, we had a medical account that was eventually mopped up with our operating interest and so on by the policy. We are aware that the monies have been sent back to the region. When I say monies, operating interest and salaries. But our medical funds, which are purely staff salary, it has nothing to do with operating, it has nothing to do with any other thing. These were monies put together from staff salary. Our medical fund mopped up has not been released to us, sir, up till now. And for us, it is a very big issue begging for attention. We are equally aware, sir, that while the TSA policy was being implemented, workers' salaries were being deducted in form of pension. I can tell you, sir, that for some of the months deducted up till now, there has not been any remittance of those pension funds deducted from workers' salary. For us, it is giving us very serious concern. Still on the issue of medical, sir, while you are here, we want to crave your indulgence. If you have enough time, you can just take a walk. We have a clinic that attends to the medical need of workers around the Jora, its environs. Even other sub-regions within the region come here. Our clinics, sir, seem to be abandoned. What is sent to run that place is nothing to write home about. We want to appeal to you, sir, that before you go, just take a walk to the clinic. By the time you finish your ward rounds to that clinic, I'm very sure that God will touch your heart to do something for that place. Sir, I know you touched the issue of review of salaries and allowances. And I know one of the things you said was that one or two errors were noticed, it was brought back, but it has been corrected and taken back to the minister. Maybe for the purpose of information, I know that we ought to have implemented some of those allowances around May, and it was shifted to June. we only want to appeal to you, sir, to do a serious follow-up, a speedy follow-up, so that within the shortest time possible, we will enjoy these allowances. And when the books and the history is being read, we will say under the tenure of Muhammad Gore, we enjoyed these allowances. We equally share in your vision to decentralize to the field. And it is in this regard, we want to draw your attention, sir, to the issue where we centralize the purchase of safety wares, tools, and other things at the headquarters. Where these things are needed the most is the field. And because of that centralization, probably headquarters will want to wait for every nook and cranny of the nation to turn in their reports before they make these purchases, and it will go through another bureaucracy to send them to the field. Meanwhile, workers are expected to work on hourly basis, on minute basis, on seconds basis. How do we expect them to work when we are not thinking safety first? And when we raise these issues with the various local managements, they say we are waiting for headquarters. We have written to headquarters. We want to appeal to you, sir, to see how we can decentralize the purchase of these safety wares. You know, in today's world, by the international standards and safety protection code, from that gate, it should even be written, before you think work, safety first. So with that, sir, we want you to go back to Abuja and see how you can make us access these things. You go to a lot of offices, there are no furnitures. People don't have furnitures to sit and work on. You go to the control rooms, they are shadows of what they are supposed to be. There is no station or substation today, sir, in TCN in Nigeria that can boast of a shift van. For us, when it comes to system operations, it is a serious aberration. You agree with me, sir, that with the environmental sanitation and considering the kind of service we render, which is essential services, if you have to move out in your private vehicles on a sanitation day, you will have it so tough convincing security operatives where you are going to. But if there is a shift van with a company name or sticker written on it, it makes it very easy for that staff to go to work, whether within sanitation or out of sanitation. We want you, sir, while you are considering vehicles, also consider shift van for system operations. I hope the MD is with us, sir. You have mentioned the issue or touched the issue of training and retraining. We cannot but agree more with you that there is need for us to develop a curriculum that will suit our own peculiar need in TCN. Be it as it may, we are equally happy that you are introducing pupillage in the system, even if it has to run for 1 year. The only appeal we want to make to you, sir, or before you, as you live here today, we appeal that you expedite action in most of these places. If you have workforce that are properly trained and informed, it is equally a process of management taking safety measures, because an educated or informed or trained staff, if you have them in your system, it reduces hazard when they work. But when you have workers that are not trained, you only have hazards waiting to happen. So, sir, as you live here today, kindly help us expedite the issue of training. But whatever situation is, anything we can still do within the shortest time possible concerning training, we would not ask you to close your doors to them, sir. In the past, we used to have a department for training. We even had GM in charge of training. Today at headquarters, I doubt if there is any department overseeing that. For these laudable ideas to succeed, sir, I think we should go beyond the issue of committee. You know, when you mentioned that committee has been set up for this, committee for that, committee for that, something struck me that Nigeria as a nation, we set up committee. Federal government has been setting up committees since 1960, and we ask ourselves, where have we found ourselves today as a nation with all these committees? So sir, I will appeal to you that you go beyond committees and let us have departments that will come closer, whose responsibility will be to take care of these various plans and ideas that you have come up with. Ditto the issue of policy implementation, not just coming up with policies but implementing them. As it stands today, when HQ releases circulars from your office, it is left at the wish of the officer holding that circular to interpret it the way he or she understands it. There is no one officer we can call at HQ today to say concerning this circular, can you shed one or two light on it? And for us, it is a major issue. Even the aspect of verbal issuance of directives that turn things around verbally, and when you ask where is the circular backing up this directive, there is no circular to show for it. We want to appeal to you, sir, to equally look at that department. They have not been functioning in a very long while. There is need to bring them back. Yes sir, you meet up with your flight. You meet up, sir. Yes sir, the issue of office space. GM, I'm like you, I'm very jealous.
Sorry, I want somebody to print my body pass.
So I want the MD's undivided attention because I'm very jealous. Yes. The issue of shortage in office space, sir, has been mentioned to you. I heard you when you were saying you have been on walking visit to Abeokuta this morning. I was just praying in my heart. I said I wish MD had passed through the road leading to Papala and to sub-region. By the time if you had gone on that road and come back, your waist will not remain the same again. Not just your waist, I'm very sure your vehicle and every other thing that went with you to that place, because the situation there is so bad. Not just the bad situation, sir. That is coupled with the issue of accommodation. Most of the TCN locations you are having today that occupy premises with some of the privatized entities, they are almost being swallowed. If you go to Papala Anto, like I said, they have just been restricted to 2 rooms. When I say 2 rooms, not 2 offices. 2 rooms, and that is how bad the situation is. It's like they draw a line for them. You must walk on this line. If you fall out of this line, then you have left where you have been given and you will be evicted. It is not just all about Papala Anto sub-region. Igbi sub-region is having that same issue. There is a common room where people go and stand. They keep standing until they are called up to come and work. These are not good developments. And of course, the issues we are having with Igbi generation there, them claiming switchyard, entrances, and so on and so forth. All these are impediments to productivity that we want the headquarters to look into. I am aware that we raised the issue of the roofs that were removed by the generation station, the TCN workers' roofs. As I speak to you, sir, and I know that you promised that you were going to intervene on that matter, that the union should allow you intervene. Well, the report is that the roofs have been mended, but they kept back the keys. And as I speak to you now, TCN is being asked to come and sign tenancy agreement. And I don't understand who the landlord is and what the content of that tenancy agreement is all about. I think it's still a case of these guys trying to pay lip service to the issues, begging for attention. Sir, we want to equally need to mention that there is need for us in all these things that we do. As I speak to you today, we have signed a new conditions of service. The average worker does not have a copy of these conditions of service. There was one of your circulars, sir, that I stumbled upon that was talking about lateness and some other issues. For me, I think it will be an injustice to judge a man over a law that he has not been informed about. If these workers have the conditions of service and they go through it, you will agree with me, sir, that it will tell them where to go, where not to go. It will define their roles, their boundaries. But as we speak, they do not have copies of it. And it will be somehow for HR tomorrow to want to punish a staff over one default or the other that he is not aware of. So we want to appeal to you that you should please, as you go back to Abuja, make conditions of service to all members of staff, not just the management officers. The issue of taxation that you just mentioned is one that is equally giving us serious concern. Well, for me, if there is anything I know about management, sir, as a student of management, if I'm a manager, I'm expected to take or accept responsibility for the action or inaction of my subordinates. Now, the issue or the mess has been created. The question is, how do we get out of this mess? It is still within your purview, sir, as the IMD, in fact, MD CEO, to go back to Abuja and see how you will draw us out of the mess that a few individuals may have thrown us into when it comes to the issue of taxation. And still speaking on the issue of taxation, sir, and bulk rent, we have a peculiarity in Lagos. Lagos, Papalanto sub-region is in Ogun State. You have, okay, Augustus relates with us medically, but Papalanto in Ogun State and then others in Lagos. We realize that what is being paid to workers in Papalanto when it comes to housing, bulk rent, differs from that which is being paid to other substations within the same Lagos region. We want to crave your indulgence to look into that matter. I know series of letters have been written, but if any of these letters have not come to your attention, sir, the AGM Papalanto is here. I would advise that you send a copy of this observation from the union to the MD so that management at the headquarters level, we look into it with a view to correcting it. Sir, as a way of helping TCN realize what we are supposed to get in terms of revenue from the MO, I don't know how much we have done in terms of trying to meter our own equipment, so that if generation comes out to say, I have given you X megawatts, this is the cost, TCN should be able to say that we equally received this megawatt and we wheeled out this megawatt. At the end of the day, the rancor we usually have between the DISCOs, GENCOs and Transisco will be reduced if our system is properly metered. It will help us to get all the necessary funds that we are supposed to get. Sir, I don't know, should I stop? In the system today, like we were listening to the Minister of Power and NERC and BPE say at different forums or fora that they have settled severance. I want to beg to differ, because as we speak, there are those that have not been paid their severance for one reason or the other. There are those that are having issues of short payment or underpayment. for one reason or the other, and they are not looking at this. We want to equally crave your indulgence, sir, that as you go back to Abuja, you raise it that when you came to Lagos region, the workers there said that a whole lot of them are still being owed their severance. Some of them are having issues with partial payments and so on and so forth. Sir, other issues we want to raise equally have to do with staffing. When I listened to you, you talked about system operations, that with the SCADA system you are looking at, there may not be need for more workers. That in fact you are having enough operators. Well, I will not stand here to say MD is lying. I'm not saying so. We are only saying that is not the situation, sir. Because like the GM said in his address, we have a lot of operators that cannot proceed on leave due to exigencies of duty. If we had enough hands in the system to run the system the way it should be, it would have been very easy for these workers to proceed on leave when it is time. But I want to tell you, sir, that apart from even running the normal 2 to 3 shifts, we run almost 1 shift, and a lot of them run over 24 hours. A case in view is the case that happened in Egbe sub-region when we had issues with Egbe generation. They stopped us from entering the switchyard. By extension, they stopped us from entering the control room. And that saw the operators from transmission working almost 48 hours while that matter lasted. For us, is a serious issue. In the system today, sir, system operations is seriously short-staffed. The idea of probably getting the services of those that had retired to come back and keep running the system, for me, I viewed it with mixed reactions. The simple implication of that is when you have people that have retired and left the system coming back to still run the same system, we are kind of blocking the way for people to progress or move up. And for us, that is a very serious issue. What I think should happen, sir, is for your management to put serious plans in place where we can bring these brains to impact knowledge rather than coming to fill the available vacancies. If we have a program in place today, and I don't think the Minister of Power equally envisages this or he sees it as a problem, but what we have in system today, the crop of the people seated with you on this table, I doubt if any of them have more than 10 years. A lot of them are having less than 5 years. A lot of them are having 5 years. Some will be going next month. Some will be going next year. The question is, you have a lot of vacuum between those leaving and those coming. How do we close that gap? So rather than bringing them back to run the system, we can engage them to train the existing ones now. We still make use of them in that regard, and so on and so forth. Well, MD, so much has been said, but I think we still need more hands in the system. We wouldn't know what the plan of government is. A lot of rumors are being peddled. They say they want to privatize TCN. I don't know how true it is. So, since you are here, you may help us shed light in that regard. But be it as it may, we are being tempted to agree that there is a plan to privatize TCN because the HQ is getting leaner and leaner and leaner. People are retiring. You have GMs retiring, you have AGMs retiring. We don't have people being promoted to fill those positions. With that kind of development, we start suspecting that this thing we are hearing, it may be true. We have other situations where
In fact, with these stakeholders, the Minister of Power stakeholders meeting, I don't know the stakeholder in the system today that is more stakeholder than the worker working in that system. But a situation where you hold stakeholders meeting and the workers that work in that system are not being carried along, then I wouldn't know what kind of stakeholders meeting that is. Before I drop this microphone, sir, we would want to pledge the support of Labour. As long as you have a listening ear, we raise issues, you listen to us. We pledge to work with you, to support you, to help you succeed. I remember when President Olusegun Obasanjo was president, he went to commission a project in one of the stations. And while he was being commissioned round the equipment, at a point he stopped and asked the man conducting him, he said, "Are you a staff of Siemens?" The man said, "No." He looked at him, he said, "I'm impressed. Who do you work for?" The man said, "PACN." He just hissed. Now, two things were involved there. The man performed incredibly well, that the president's attention was attracted. But when he said PHCN, he hissed. What is the implication of that? If we are to talk about performance indication today, and these workers do not have tools to work, when we raise the issues at the various workstations, they will tell us, "We have written to Abuja. Abuja has not responded." How do you expect them, sir, to increase productivity when they do not have tools to work? We only have to wait until HQ, in their own wisdom, at whatever time, now send tools to us to work. If you were to place such a staff on key performance indicator, you can see that you have laid a foundation, or if not you, a foundation has been laid for that staff to fail from beginning, even before you rate him. If that staff cannot move from one point to the other to do the job, for us is an issue. The issue of tools, sir, is a serious problem. We have so much to talk about. Today, our lifelines are almost dying, if not dead. That department is gone. What we see, and before I go, there is need, sir, for us to look into that audit department. There is need for us to address one or two things when it comes to the issue of audit. It is impeding jobs on the field. There is need to address them. It is because of that same bureaucracy that we are having a lot of equipment belonging to TCN tied down at the ports today. If what should be done had been done and at the right time, by today we will not be looking at demorages or those equipments meant to augment the lines lying down there. So, sir, with these few points of ours, we hope we have been able to convince you and not confuse you that there is need to look into these areas and take positive steps to addressing them. Thank you very much.
Thank you for clapping for the AGS. I knew that would be a reaction, especially when it comes to increase in allowances. I can see somebody looking at me there. Pepe is coming. Thank you, AGS. We'd like to have the VP SAEC to give a few remarks to. He already told me that so many things he would have loved to say have been said by the AGS. So let's please give a round of applause for Mr. Tokunbo Ashok.
I hope he has spoken our mind. Yes. Yeah. That's a joint speech anyway. I haven't said that in order not to waste our time. have a little something I want to say, especially on the issue of Papalanto. On the issue of Papalanto. Now, as an MD, sir, you stand to be a father to us. And if a father sends his children to school, and if that child has a problem, definitely you must visit that school to know what is happening. Sir, I'm appealing, sir. If it's just a day, whatever, please visit Papalanto. No, it's appeal. It's appeal. It's appeal. Visit us in Papalanto. You will see what we are facing. I'm just telling you, we are just like a refugee in Papalanto. Now, having said that they want to use those offices given to us. Pacific, the investor, that the office they are using is not enough. So they want to evict us. So we are appealing, sir, come to our aid. We need office accommodation. We need office accommodation. What am I even saying? Without office accommodation, where will you get, where we have office equipment? We are just like, the road to Papalanto from any angle, from Shagam, from Papalanto junction, is hectic. It's a problem. Can you imagine some of our staff there go with Dangote trailer? You will see an housewife will be pushing to enter Dangote trailer. Can you imagine that? Somebody will push her to enter that Dangote trailer. It's bad. It's bad. Please, we need you to visit us. Come and see what we are facing. Come and see what we are facing. Thank you, sir. Then, for what my colleagues have said, training, yes, we need training. I think you have noted those things. Then, concern our impress, especially that Papalanto, when you get back to Abuja, let them give you the impress of Lagos region, for all the sub-region. You will see that of Papalanto there. It's not enough. And this same express is what we use to take care of all those broken vehicles, staff welfare, and some other things. Having said this, sir, we want to thank you for coming. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Vice President. Thank you, HS. But I think before I take the comment, actually some of them I don't have answer because HS have some of those information you have it more than me. Like some of this issue that has to do with privatization. I remember the last information he gave me, I don't know. So I think you know more than me. But I want other staff, if they have additional comment to make, so that I will answer, yes.
Do we still have any questions or comments from the staff? Come.
A committee to look into some vacancies concerning the consultants or contractors. The information I got that there was no single candidate that qualified to represent the procurement process. About 3 candidates applied and no single candidate qualified. Sir, I want to remind you, some of the lower cadet will not apply because the condition was senior manager up. We have some qualified procurement experts in the industry, managers, maybe assistant managers, to the extent trained by Bureau of Public Procurement and issue a certificate. So I just want to use this avenue to let you know, sir. Then secondly, the SCADA system, I am so happy. You'll be talking about SCADA. And thank God you were part of this system before you left. And you told us that about first, second SCADA system failed in the past. I'm from that department, Lagos region. Sir, you have a very good mind for this industry to move forward. I am appealing that this constituted SCADA that is ongoing, we don't want it to fail again. I am just from Igbi Generation Station for over 4 days now, trying to look at the way we can place the HMI on the operator's table. And we discovered that without the automation system proper, we may not be able to get accurate reading used for planning in the system. And sir, you just said something that from Benin to Oshogbo there was a tripping, that they overloaded the line. Sir, it is not easy for the operators. Why using those analog meters to take their readings? So I will be very happy that the SCADA system must work this time around, and to make sure that at least we have efficient SCADA system in TCL. Thank you very much.
I thought the AGS had spoken on our behalf.
Good afternoon, everybody. All protocol duly observed. I'm Akinfe Sunday from Ajah Sub-Region. Please, I want to add that what I discovered is that we have engineering triangle, that we have the engineers, technologists, and technicians. And what I observed is that we are only employing the BSc and the HND holder, and the technicians are not being considered. And before you know it, within 3 or 6 years, they are already managers. And there are some departments that you need this junior cadre for that department to thrive. So I want the MD to please note that in subsequent employment, let technicians and the technical school be considered, so that there will not be vacuum, so that junior staff will still be there. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Adeson Yadi from Ikeja West, Area Control. Good afternoon, sir. Interim Director, all protocol observed, my colleagues. My question are in two. There was a circular we received from the field concerning payment of fuel and discharge cards. And we are told that it will soon come, And we also heard that the people at headquarters have been receiving it. We in the field, we have not been receiving that one. We like the MD to know that one. Number 2, he just mentioned something about training. Training, the best training one can have is the training that is given to one by the direct supervisor. He can't deceive you. And in view of that, I will employ MD to incorporate regional training institute within the region itself, so that any staff being recruited will go through the professional training in different fields and issue certificate. When we went for training in Kangi, it is our people that train us, and what they train us on is not missing. It's still there. We know what they train every one of us on, and we can build on it and work in now with the modern technology. Thank you, sir.
I think after him, we'll have only one more person asking questions.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Akisha Oluwole, System Lines Department, Papalanto Sub-Region. Sir, we really appreciate your coming, sir. Sir, I want to talk about two things. Constant tripping of Oshogbo 330 lines during dry season and harmattan. So I want to prove to you, sir, that the cause of these trippings is nothing less than expiration of the glass insulators. I want to prove to you that 2001 to 2004, we used to have such problem on Bini Ikeja West 330 kVA line. But management took a decision to change all the glass insulators to composite. I think since then we have rest of mind on the line. Sir, this Ayede Olorunshogbo to Ikeja West is a problem. The composite and the glass insulator are already, they are expired, sir. So we need to declare emergency on those insulators. If you are going to change them back to new glass insulator or composite, then if you are having tripping, we know that, because I can tell you, sir, if it's not detached, the vegetation are at least at manageable. Not at all good, but manageable. So, sir, once it is harmattan, sir, my agent can testify to it. You don't need to tell anybody. Once it's 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., there is going to be tripping on the line. So if it's changed to composite or new insulators, that area will be settled. The second is our bulk rate. Our AGMs have said something about it. But we have issues, and everybody in Papaland too are worried. We have colleagues who are ISO staff being paid about 80%, and we from TSP, from the same sub-region, are being paid 70%. And we are under Lagos region, sir. And the next we hear that ISO headquarters are in Ikeja West, and TSP headquarters is also at Lagos region. And thank God that Abuja has been moved from Shiroro, now is now Abuja region. Please, sir, for our morale to be boosted, please help us look to it. We have complained to the Adebola when he was here. Adetola, we complained. He said it's a policy that will be taken from Abuja, and we thank God that for you to have come at this time is a divine arrangement. So I know Abuja is here, and you will use a good office to make sure that all this are normalized. My own colleagues now from Lagos who are from Ikeja West, it's a difference of 190,000 naira. So that 190 is something, or is it not? So please, sir, help us look into it. You have the ability to do it, and you will do it, and God will enable you, sir. Lastly, sir, as Mr. Shogbo has said, sir, please, we have one of the Land Rover here. Mr. Sylvester, please help us bring the Land Rover. The Land Rover is here. Bring it. Let me see it. Sir, as I'm talking to you, my GM, sir, at times I use my vehicle, sir, to do work. When the need arise, we don't have vehicle. We have about 6 vehicles who are parked somewhere. Even recently, our landlord came. He said he was going to eject us from the house. If we do, yes, we have landlord now. In Papalanto, he said we should move all our vehicles away from the compound because it's a 4 flat and we are occupying 1 flat. A house for pigeons, sir. Please, I know that you can do it, and God will continue to protect you. Every evil against you, God will destroy them. Thank you very much.
Pastor in the house, Mr. Sylvester, the MD said only females. You're a man, so I cannot allow you ask your question. Should I allow him, sir? If there's no female, do we have any female in the house with questions? No female with questions? I don't fall my hand, though you're not a female. Okay, so let me have him first. Stop right up first. He raised his hand first. I told him he's not a female.
Good afternoon, sir.
the MD and the GM and all protocol observed. I just want to add to the area of the SCADA that the MD said they're working on. Despite the statement that the first and second SCADA failed us, I believe in National Control Center they still make use of the SCADA network, and it has helped them to reduce a lot of stress. But having said that, there are some reinforcement and rehabilitation that is going on in various substations now. And most of our equipment are being pulled out, the SCADA equipment. And currently, we are talking to them that all those SCADA equipment are being removed, has to be interfaced back to the existing SCADA. Though, when the project was approved, the stakeholders, I mean the SCADA in the region and the various regions were not carried along. We didn't know anything concerning it. But we cannot just sit down and fold our arms and allow our equipment being removed, because we know the National Control Center still need the SCADA for operations. So I'm just begging the MD now that he should please help us to make sure before the contractor leaves site, they should please help us on the area of interfacing our equipment, our SCADA equipment. We don't want them to just leave the site and they leave us blank like that, because majority of our components have been removed. We've moved it to a new panel, and most of them are not being seen at the control centers, especially National Control Center. I want to beg the MD to look at it so that by the time they will be leaving, we have our SCADA back as it is before. God bless you, sir.
I think it's over. Thank
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ekoko FM from Akomba Work Center. Sir, I want to talk about requests that will be sent to Abuja unattended to. The particular example I want to make is on the CTs in our station, which were installed in 1965. They were manufactured in 1965. When the engineer Opat was there as the AGM TS, we wrote and we've been writing. Even as far back as I can't even remember when I joined the city, we've been writing about those cities there in 1965, which they are still there now. The letter has not been replied, the money has not been sent. Sir, sometimes ago, the one on W4, which is like West Akoba, 330 kV line 1, line 2 just exploded. And that one, and such could lead to system collapse. In such case, sir, are we to be blamed because we have been writing? Secondly, sir, there's another breaker, W4L. That one was installed, maybe only one of its type in the system. We've been writing since I joined NEPA. The breaker is still there. It's only through aggressive maintenance that we are able to keep them in the system. Please, and when you go back, I want you to help us look into all those old equipment so that we can do something about it, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Engineer. Thank you.
We still have some people that want to ask questions. So sorry about that.
Thank you very much. Incidentally, what you talk about is what we discussed with Engineer Opara last night. To be honest with you, we have not improved Impress, but we have increased the funding to the regional offices. Opara can confirm that we have increased it.
You're right, sir.
We have increased it. It's either we increase your impress or we send you money that you are supposed to do some of those maintenance without sending people from headquarters to come and help you. You are doing it by yourself or sending contractor. So we are also empowering. And on the issue of auditor that AGS mentioned, is actually a big problem because we send money to the regional office and the regional office cannot spend the money because they say the approval limit is small. So I called the audit office last time, AGS, I hope you are listening to me. I called them for a meeting. I said, okay, are we going to give you, what do you want? Do you want us to be giving money to contractors? So that contractors will be charging us what is 10 naira, they will charge us 100 naira? Or do you want us to send to our staff to install those things at a cheaper rate that we are getting? Because I showed them the result of what we have achieved, what contractors are collecting and what we are doing now. And they say it's better for us to give our staff. So I say, okay, go and write a circular for me so that we tell your staff that are in the regional office, I mean the auditors in the regional office. I'm referring to the two general managers of audit in TSP and in ISO. So they went and wrote a general circular, and the circular created more problem than solution. Why did I say that? They said that they should not be dividing contract, they should not be doing this inside the same circular. So I said this one that I say is not a solution to the problem because this one will even create more problem than solution. So I told them then go and bring solution. So they couldn't bring solution. So the decision that we took, which I'm sure in the next week you will see the circular, we took a decision that we are increasing the approval limit of the regional general managers to be at the same level with the executive directors. That's what we are, that's the decision we took. And I asked whether I have the power to do that. And I was told I have the power to do that. So that's what we are doing to solve that problem. It may not solve the problem, but it will reduce it. That is the intention. Madam mentioned about cities and VTs. This is what happened between me, discussion I had between me and the MD of Mainstream. If there's anybody who attended the power sector meeting that took place in Abuja, he will confirm this in the happen. We had this, I think it's a breaker between Kaenji and Jeba that has been out for several times because it's not fixed. So the MD of Mainstream came and met me, and I showed him my plan on how to fix it with funding. So he was so happy, but he said he wanted it quickly. I said you cannot have it quicker than the way I put it. There's other options, but the other option also have a problem. Because if I've included something in a requirement that is supply and installation, and I remove it, it becomes more costly to me because I'm going to pay. If somebody is cutting for supply and installation, and you tell it, don't install the equipment, give me the equipment, you are losing. So you tell me which one do you want. So we agree with him. When he came to the power sector meeting, he said there's a problem, he has a problem. I said, what is it? Minister asked him, what is the problem? He said the breaker between Kaenji and Brini and Jeba is not working. And so the minister asked him, I said to him, next time MD don't come to my office. He said, why? I said, look, this problem has been there for 5 years. Nobody has fixed it. I've come in less than 6 months. I've given you a solution on how I'm going to fix it with timeline. And you came here and you're mentioning it. And you are saying that there's no solution. So next time, if you come to my office, I will not listen to you. So everybody laughed. That was what happened. Now, what I want to tell you is that we have several of those equipments that are not existing. What did I do when I came in? I ordered emergency procurement of CTs, VTs, and reactors. Have you? Under the World Bank project. Those has been evaluated and the contracts have been signed now for them to supply VTs and CTs. There are many, which we are going to send to the regional offices for them to install as we are doing now. We are not buying them and supplying installation. we are buying the equipment so that we distribute it for them to install them. Because there are so many interface issues, even along Egbin and several other places. So this is what we want to do. So once this equipment arrives, we are going to send it to the regional offices to fix them. Now going forward, what are we doing also to avoid this kind of thing? We have under one of the projects, which is the World Bank project, we are buying 10 150 MVA which are spares. We are buying 20 60 MVAs who are spares. We are buying 100 MVAs which we are bringing them to the system. So that even those ones that we have, if they fail, we can just pick and put. That's not the only. We are also buying spare parts, like CTs, VTs, and all. We are buying them. That's how we want to do. And that's why we are working to strengthen our stores in such a way that we will not have our equipment being missing anyhow. That's why we want to strengthen the stores. So we are not forgetting the fact that we need to fix those problems. But the question is that we have to also understand that our funding has not changed. We are working to change them. But it's not the funding. The only thing that has changed, which I also want to tell you, that has changed is that we have reduced our wastages. As we speak with you now, I will tell you without fear that TCN account is far, far better than when we took over. That is the reality. It's not like how it used to be before. I can confirm to you that we have up to $16 million in the account of TSP. That's the reality. So we are not that bankrupt organization. But the question is that, yes, if we are going to sustain this, we have to also continue with the culture of probity, stopping these people that make us like a farm. They know our office more than even we know it. They come to our office before us. We have to cap those people. If we don't cap them, we will go back to square one. That's the reality. On the issue of SCADA, the issue of SCADA, I think you said they removed it. Are you referring to Ikeja West? Or which place did they do that? Are they doing that job? There are 2 stations. Yes. Akamba and Ikeja West. Yes, Akamba and Ikeja West. Okay, Engineer Ofa, this is your problem now. So the PCNM people that are removing those, they should not remove them. Has to create a new panel. Okay, you see, both of them are MBH. Both of them are MBH. Okay, Engineer Opara, write to me, I will give it to MBH. We will tie their payments to this. We will not pay them their last money until we confirm this program. That's all. Okay, on the issue of tripping of Oshobo on this glass insulator, please can you write detail of these things and bring it? Because what I want to do is that I want to tie it with one of this job that we want to do, the stringing of the line. Yes, so because I want us to tie it. So what I want you to do, I want you to forward it to Chiroma or to Kwadabi. Just like we are tying the singing of Oshobo Aede to the OGW that goes to Ikeja West. We want to tie this one. We have enough money to do it so that we solve this problem. We solve this problem once and for all. On the issue of employing engineers and technologists, we have not started the employment. We are doing the assessment now. So we have no conclusion, but definitely if you employ engineers and there's nobody to help the engineers, I don't think you are doing the right thing. So we will take that into account. Thank you for the suggestion. Issue of scratch cards. We have considered that, but we are also considering it with our revenue. As at now, account has confirmed to me that we can pay the increase in allowance, but they have not confirmed this one. But it's one of the things that we are considering. We are not leaving you. But if it could become too serious, we can also stop the one of the headquarters so that everybody becomes the same. How do you just will not penalize me for that? On the issue of Papalento, I promise I'm going to visit Papalento. And even the road, I think Ogun State is one of the states that we are collaborating very well. I didn't tell you that one of the things that we have also established is that we have established that there's one area that we are not very well, doing very well. The issue of right of way and this compensation. We are not doing very well in that area because once TCN says want to pay for compensation, the cost becomes very high. It's expensive. And also as a culture of Nigeria, we are actually a different species as far as payment of compensation is concerned. I want to tell you something. You know, I am the chairman of the, by virtue of my position as the MD of TCN, I'm the chairman of the WAP Executive Board. As the chairman of the WAP Executive Board, I want to tell you something. We want to build a transmission line from Nigeria to Niger, Niger to Burkina Faso, Burkina Faso to Mali, and Mali to Senegal as the northern corridor of the West African Power Pool. You know, we have the southern corridor. We are actually planning to build another one, but this is the southern corridor. We want to build the northern corridor also, so that they will meet in Senegal, then we have a loop. So a study was done for the line from Niger to Nigeria and to Nigeria through Birnin Kebbi. I want to tell you that from Birnin Kebbi to the border and from the border to Niger, from Birnin Kebbi to the border is 60 kilometers. From our border of Nigeria to Yamai, the capital of Niger, is about 350 kilometers. If you look at the vegetation, okay, going very close to Niger, the vegetation are different. That one, the vegetation is poorer. But close to the border of Nigeria, up to 100 kilometers, the vegetation is almost the same. It's almost the same from Birnin Kebbi to that side. But the payment of compensation for the 60 kilometers is far, far higher than the payment of 350 kilometers in Niger. So this is the cultural problem that we have. So for us to solve that problem, what the decision we have taken is to partner with states. Some of the states, we encourage them, some of them that are very willing, we encourage them to even take over the issue of the compensation and the issue of right of way. And one of those states that have taken that 100% from us was Kaduna State and Edo State. In fact, Edo State is doing payment of compensation for line that has nothing to do with the state. And the state government has agreed to do it. Kaduna State is doing the same thing. Ogun State, we have agreed to partner with the state. We are partnering with them. We are moving very well. When we have not completely concluded whether they will pay 100% or 50% of the compensation. But we are partnering very well. Therefore, what I want to tell you is that if I come to Papalonto, I'm going to come with the Commissioner of Works with Ogun State, and we'll see how the state should do the road, so that everybody, they solve their problem, we solve our own side. So I will come to Papalonto. I'll come there, yes. There's something that none of you have raised when I came here, and I deliberately decided to keep quiet. Madam even mentioned it at the beginning of the meeting. Some of you didn't know, I've also worked in Jorao. Wow. But I also want to tell you that when I'm coming to this place, I don't have all the money to solve the problem. So I'm not telling you 100% this problem will solve. But this place is not a good place for us. That is the reality. It's not about the location, it's not about this building. You may manage this building, but to enter this place, I think this is a serious matter, because if this is the face of transmission in Lagos, and you have to pass all these fish sellers before you come here, I think there's a big problem. And that is what I expect many of you to see, because it's not, if this is our face, then there's a problem. There's a problem.
The way they see us.
So I think that Lagos is the biggest region that we have. Lagos control about 30% of our transformation capacity. And we are also planning to expand Lagos region. What you don't know is that as part of our plan, we are building another 330 quad line from Benin to Lagos. It's going to be a new line. What we want to do is that we are going to expand the line from Benin TS to Benin North. And from Benin, so we want to expand it to court because there's no corridor to enter Benin North. There's no new corridor to enter because of the build-up area. So the existing line between Benin North and Benin TS, we want to rebuild it to court line that will carry capacity of 2,400 megawatt.
This is very humbling. He has told us, and we keep saying leadership by example. The MD has told us this afternoon that we should not collude with corrupt people in this region. We would quickly like to take the vote of thanks, and it will be done by Engineer Moragon, please.
Thank you, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, before I move a vote of thanks, let me quickly say this, sir. Please, the benefit the TSA is getting in terms of funding. We want to pledge our loyalty and support, and we believe in your capacity to deliver, and we believe in your capacity to say the truth at any time, and we continue to pray for you that you will succeed. And not only that, and this is not personal, it's not for any reason. Our own expectation and hope is that you will stay more than 1 year. We believe so. We believe that the period will be extended so that you can